When I did El Mariachi, in my short films, there was always a Latin theme in there. And I'm Latin. I'm born in the States, speak English. So my characters end up being like that.
You're always the sensitive one, Machete. It's a Mexican standoff.
I realized early on when I first got to Hollywood at Desperado, I was like, wow, I need to create a place where we can give all kinds of actors, especially Latin actors, work so that I can build up a sort of a star system so that when I go from movie to movie, I can bring them along.
We good, sound?
And action.
I said no freebies.
I always wanted to work with him. I've seen most of his movies, and since he started with Salma and Antonio Banderas, and I always admire his way of doing movies, and I wanted to be part of that.
I did already 6 movies with him. So when he called me back again, it was like going back to your family.
I think Robert Rodriguez has done more for Latinos in Hollywood than any other producer, director has ever done.
Very nice. One more.
You learn a lot working with Robert. You know you have that range of freedom to just be as outrageous as you could possibly be. And I think that's why he attracts so many amazing people.
Okay, somewhere in here, then you walk up a couple steps.
You know, it's a lot of fun to be part of Robert Rodriguez's family.
I want to do films with Robert forever. He's someone that's really your friend and so open. And he invites everyone around to be a part of that game.
He succeeds at what he does, and it's because he speaks a language that transcends cultures.
And action.
¿A dónde, amigo?
Allá!
Tienes suerte, pues es exactamente a donde me dirijo. ¡Vámonos!
If Robert Rodriguez calls you because you got that strong personality, you want to be in that universe. He put together a universe to which people wants to belong.
Action.
And that's why they come over here and they shoot with him, and they will continue as much as he continues delivery in the way that he has been doing for the last 20 years.
That is a wrap on Machete Kills, guys.
Machete Kills.
Shot. Yep, sure someone else gets shot.
Roger.
Cut back to you. Keep fighting. Throw it. And then come up. Yeah, somewhere in here, then you walk up a couple steps.
Background action. Action.
Keep fighting!
Right.
And action.
Let's do this.
Action.
Well, then smile afterwards. And yeah, like that. Action.
Machete.
I've heard Mendez speak of you. You want to use me to get to him? Take me. Now.
Keep your eye on the door because they might come in, and you start going towards this. Put your hand out for her as you come? Yeah. Like he's leading you to the room.
Okay.
Let's try it. We turn and stop him first. And then say,
Let me know when you're rolling.
oh.
Do nothing. Say nothing. Or you're dead.
Very nice. Good.
Fire.
Nice. Good. Cut. Go take 2. Sophia. Okay. Action.
Lover boy.
Very nice. Great.
Danny.
Great. Okay. Cut. Put it back. Action.
Man-eater. That's what they used to call me when I was a little girl.
That's great. Action.
No freebies!
And action.
Sure.
That's great. So let's just do one more.
Action! Get in there, guys. Get in there. Take a chance.
Let's see, how we doing? How are you? Say good. You're a
Good
good
kid.
guy.
Get in there.
I need your votes. I need your votes. All right, and your money.
Action. Fantastic. Cut. Perfect.
What's this I hear about you having Mendez in custody?
Things got complicated.
You were supposed to take him out and not give him a joyride on the good ship Lollipop. Damn it, I didn't recruit you for your sense of compassion. Machete kills.
Action.
This is the president.
Great.
Welcome to Vostek, the world's premier space technology and weapons manufacturer. That's why I built this. That's why I built this. This may be more up your alley. Primitive, retro yet high-tech. Demonstration? You like it?
Yes.
Well, then it's yours.
And action!
Great.
People! People! Did you see that Mexican guy? Jump! Go for the sky! Facing the tussle. You have it all wrong. He's all just a business.
Action.
¿A dónde, amigo?
Para allá.
Ah, tienes suerte, pues es exactamente a donde me dirijo. ¡Vámonos!
Great.
¡Vámonos, vámonos!
Open the door.
Danny!
Yeah, say boy. About 18 years.
Faster, a little bit
Oh, they haven't gone a bit faster yet. So then you just keep up with it. Okay. But that's still fine, but maybe just right.
Gotcha.
Right that way a little bit.
All right.
Right there.
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
there. Like
Very good. Very good.
Action.
Hola. ¿Cómo está usted hoy? Muy bien. That means very good. Look at me. High scores. Forgive my excitement, but I'm just starting to learn English. Not by choice, mind you. Can't get the damn CD player to work.
Just want to look at the beginning. Maybe if you're not leaning, just kind of up here.
Hello.
24.
Action.
Well, sweet Jezebel. I think we just hit us a stroke of Beaner's luck running into you again, Taco. You and your compadre there going for 10 million buckaroos ahead. We got two, count them, 2 head. Now, I was never straight A's in algebra, but that is one hallelujah lot of money.
Let's do a couple more like this. I might try when you start with a laugh, maybe the laugh first. That way you can be here.
I think we ought to take advantage of your lucrative predicament here. Get us all up to squares. No distractions this time. Right, Claiborne?
Yes, sir. That's right, Sheriff.
All right, then.
Okay,
Sayonara, Taco.
Okay, hold right here. Keep them coming there. Settle, please.
And pull, and action. Get ready, and boom.
Go, Charlie.
And action. Okay, good. Cut.
You really are the blind leading the blind.
Very nice, very nice. Action, Danny.
Cuidado, piso mojado.
Espero que tengas una sombrilla. Y cruce con peligro. You must be Machete.
Action.
Machete, double time into the border. I'll assist you as much as possible, but you've got to move your ass.
Hey.
Okay, any Robert notes? Action.
What's that? Thing I told you about.
Nice. Cut. Let's put it back.
Cut him out. Cut.
Boom. Okay, cut. Back away.
And action. One more, right away.
And action.
Hold your fire. Everybody okay?
Another good one.
Action! And action!
Very nice.
Nice.
There's something about when you read a movie and in 2 pages, you have to kind of think, what am I reading? What is this? I mean, I've got quote unquote space babes. I've got 70s cue music written into the screenplay. I've got the spaceships and machetes and Tommy guns and whatever else, you know, and it's a nice setup. She's not your average pageant girl, that's for sure. I like it when your character kind of looks like one thing and is the total opposite on the inside. There's something about that I relate to. Miss San Antonio is smart. She's powerful. She's in control. She's a badass in heels. Killer Barbie, have you? And I like that. I like that her strength is not degraded by how she looks. It's augmented by how she looks, and that's unusual. And she's kind of a Bond girl in some ways, but she's her own. I don't know. She's the real match for Machete. You get the feeling that she's, you know, really going to put up the fight that Machete ultimately deserves. Robert Rodriguez is his own, he's a machine. He's a one-stop studio in everything. Music, art, posters. One minute he's shooting the poster, the next he's doing a cooking show. He's, you know, on his lunch breaks wanting to cut together a teaser of the scene we just shot before. He's drawing the artwork. He's creating, creating props in his spare time. He's painting. He's creating. To handle the weapons that I'm having to handle, which are not your everyday shooting range, let's go shoot skeet with your dad type of weapons. They're ridiculous. Well, you know, it's not the same thing as well, it's not easy, I'll just put it that way, especially with nails and the whole gig. But I didn't do this job so it would be easy, that's for sure. I love working with Michelle Rodriguez. She's wonderful. She's a lot of fun. Michelle is perhaps a bigger character off screen than she is on, and that's very unusual. That's very unusual. I feel honored to know her, and even more so to work with her. Really, she's a lot of fun. Machete Kills is the sequel to the original Machete, and you know, we get to see all of the old familiar faces return, but a whole slew of new ones playing the gamut of cameo roles and the gamut of interesting. We meet a whole gang of interesting characters, to say the least. It's Machete avenging his love's death, and you know, we get to see Machete not only on a mission to save himself, but to save the entire world.
Mendes is basically a good man, a great man. He is this secret agent who works for the Mexican government, and he's good. He's really good, and so there are many things rotten in Dinamarca. And the only way out is to get inside the problems and then try to work them out. It's great because you think that this is going to be a serious type of actor that never smiles or never talks to anyone, or it's going to be hard to interact with, or maybe he's, you know, moody, or the way Machete is, right? And then you find this beautiful human being so cool and nice and generous, and this is one of those actors that you've loved for so many years, watching in so many films, and I'm just really happy that he finally got this chance to shine. Mel was around, my missile was around, and then Robert put us together, and he just, wanted us to do that little encounter when I actually get the missile from him, and it was great. This is another legend that I love ever since I saw Gallipoli, and then of course all his magnificent work. So it's really exciting. They not only get excited about seeing the film, but something happens to them inside. And that's what we want. When you pay a ticket and go to a movie, go watch a film, that's what you want. You want something to happen to you. And that's what I think, Robert's films do.
I didn't have any preconceived notions about how Robert worked or anything. I've only heard fabulous things, and what I've encountered thus far completely supports that. He's very specific in his vision. He has a confidence and not an arrogance, And I like that it's set. There's no yelling. There's nobody's getting too excited. It's a really tight ship, and it starts with him, and it all rolls downhill from there, I think Machete Kills offers fans just a 90-minute thrill ride into some areas that I'm sure they've never seen before, action-wise, effect-wise. Just this is from the mind of a man that look at the spectrum of his work. It's pretty crazy. I just think that you can come into this film knowing that you're not going to leave disappointed. You're not going to be bored during it. Danny Trejo was epic. I've been a fan of his for a very long time, and he's just one of those guys, he's exactly who he is. He's a really sweet man. It's interesting to get to know him, and he's playing this vicious, violent killer, and he's like the nicest guy in the world. I knew him in LA a little bit years ago, but it's an honor to work with him. It's cool because I'm the guy that gives him the mission that creates all chaos in the movie. That's always fun. I think the cast in this is phenomenal, from Mel Gibson to Danny to Amber Heard, Michelle Rodriguez, Lady Gaga, Cuba Gooding. I mean, this thing just goes on and on.
Robert Rodriguez has something that not a lot of people has as directors, which is personality, and that is very interesting. There are a lot of great directors, but they are just lost in a gray mess of other ones that they all look the same. In the case of Robert Rodriguez, you just watch probably 30 seconds of one of his movies, and you know that it's him. It's a specific style. This only happens with great directors. It happens with Almodovar, it happens with Allen, it happens with Terrence Malick. It happens with directors like that because people want to work with good people. That's not a mystery. So they go there. Woody Allen calls you, you go. You're going to be in the movie. If Robert Rodriguez calls you because you got that strong personality, you want to be in that universe. He put together a universe to which people wants to belong. And that's why they come over here and they shoot with him, and they will continue as much as he continues delivering, you know, in the way that he has been doing for the last 20 years. Danny deserves to have just a documentary for him, because the story of Danny is a story of overcoming and strength and faith. It's a story of faith on yourself that should be listened and learned by many people in our society. This is a guy who had a, you know, probably bad start in life and a lot of obstacles that he had to overcome, and he did. From there, from prison to be a star, this is a long way of sacrifice and believing in yourself, you know, in yourself, and he did. So for me, is an awe, always, when I am, you know, by him. He's one of the most beautiful hearts I have ever met in this professional world.
I took a meeting with Robert because I'm a huge fan of his work as a filmmaker, as an auteur, and our hour lunch dinner turned into 3 hours, and I left and didn't, you know, I told my agents I love him, whatever he wants me to do, let me know, and literally like 2 months to the day later, they were like, okay, he wants you to be in Machete Kills. I was like, I'm in. I play El Chameleon, and he changes faces, and I'm one of the faces he changes into. So even though it's brief, it's a powerful, violent couple of scenes in the movie that I'm proud of. So. I love sets where the director knows exactly what he wants. It's interesting too, because what Robert does is he'll say, no, we're not going to see that part. I'm only going to use this take for this scene and this part. I mean, he's like editing as he shoots it, and you can see his creative process just happening, as opposed to a director saying action and cut, and then getting in the editing room and then figuring it out. You can see him piecing the movie together, and it's brilliant to watch. I mean, he's even got the score going. He's got certain sound effects going during your take, you know, and then he'll explain it to you. And it really is, as an actor, it gives you a rich canvas from which to dance around on. I knew I was going to have fun because it was a Robert Rodriguez movie. And, you know, again, he asked me to come and play, and I didn't care what it was. I didn't care what the role was. And to hear that it was an assassin, I was like, score, yeah. I'll be cool with the boys, my sons, for all of two days. So the day before they see the movie, the day after they see the movie, and then they'll move on.
El Chameleon is a character that's played by myself and Lady Gaga and Cuba Gooding Jr. and the man, Robert's man. So it's, you know, it was just an opportunity of a lifetime, really, to just be in the company of Antonio and all the rest of them. What you get with Robert is this childlike enthusiasm for filmmaking, and it's infectious. You know, you're taken along this ride with him, and he's bold, and he's not afraid to not have all the answers. You know, and that's very rare. I think that's something that I look for in human beings, as friends, and in my partner, and certainly in creative experiences, because I like to think that I don't know where I'm going. You know, I know a percentage of it, and but he really doesn't, and he's a true auteur. You know, very few people are given an opportunity to create on the level that Robert has pioneered for himself, and responsibly so. He knows his audience. He's been around forever, and he's like he's a pro, and Danny's life story is a movie, you know. He's a man who has earned his stripes, like on and off camera, and I've had such a good time getting to know him over the course of these last 3 or 4 years now, and he's so in the moment. Man, he's so intimidating to the at first glance, you know, at first impression. Then you get to meet him and you realize, no, you have children, and you love them, and you're sweet. You're not like all jacket with full of knives guy, you know. It's he's just a delightful human being, and a really talented actor.
I read it, and I read this sort of monologue. The character has this, he does most of the talking in this first scene, and he just unfolds. He's sort of like an onion, and the layers keep falling away, and he becomes more and more interesting, and then finally there's this place where you realize what he's actually, the reason he's actually doing what he's doing at the moment. We're about to hang somebody, and it's all very casual and businesslike at first, and then you realize that he's got sort of a personal reason. You know, this one goes a little bit deeper than the other ones do. You know what I'm saying? I think what Robert does better than almost anybody else I've ever run across in this business is there's this boyish glee about his films. He has this, and he still has it. He's been doing this for I don't know how long. He had it on Road Racers. I saw it in El Mariachi. That was, I mean, my first exposure to Robert. He has more fun doing this than any other filmmaker who's ever played in this genre. You know, in the shoot 'em up, in the grisly, sweaty, knife-wielding, gunfighting, testosterone-driven world that he lives in. Nobody has more fun in that world than Robert Rodriguez.
Zaror, it's a boss bodyguard, the main villain bodyguard, and he cloned me. He cloned Zaror so to build an army to complete his mission that he have of like destroying the world. Or well, I've been training and getting ready for this all my life. So yes, when I heard about the news and when I received the call from Robert, I started really focusing my training down in Chile into what I was thinking to do with the character, knowing that he's like a Terminator clone type of character. So I was very excited.
Machete Kills is a different movie than Machete in many ways. I would say that one of the archetypes we used was to look at the Rambo movies. You know, they had that first movie, which was First Blood, which was a little bit darker and had more of a social element to it. And then the second movie really becomes taking that Rambo character and almost becoming James Bond in a way. You know, you have a mission and you expand that world, and you take that character that you like and you start putting them into sort of bigger. You raise the stakes and you put them into bigger and bigger environments. That's really, I think, the difference between Machete Kills and Machete is you take that character, which was really well defined in the first movie, and then you unleash him on the world. And that's what I think is going to be really exciting in Machete Kills, is you get to see Machete in a lot of different scenarios, and they're either very funny or they're actually really cool. Mel Gibson as playing the role that Mel Gibson's playing in this movie, I think is really interesting. I don't think people have seen him do that before, and he just seemed to relish it. You know, he came in and really gave us some great stuff, and so he becomes an incredible counterpoint to Machete. Then taking an actor like Damian Bashir and bringing him in as Mendez. What's great about that is you have these really fine actors that are in these scenarios where I think in other people's hands could come off as cartoonish or could come off as two-dimensional. Here, these guys really feel like real people, and I think that brings a quality and a weight to the Machete movies that might have been different in other people's hands. So to have great, really, if you have great bad guys, your hero is that much greater. And so I think the Damian Bashir as Mendez and Mel Gibson as Vaz, those were really crucial to creating the kind of movie we wanted to create. To have Amber Heard and Michelle Rodriguez and Sofia Vergara, and to have all these people in the movie, it just makes it so exciting. And they came down with this great attitude about what they wanted to do, what they would do, and it wasn't about us asking someone like Sofia Vergara to do something crazy. It was Sofia Vergara saying, "What else do you want me to do?" You know, and so that not only do we get a great cast, but they come down with an attitude of, you know, what can they do? How can they sort of take their moment while they're down here and make it special? And I think the movie benefited from that.
He's kind of like a Bond villain, you know. He's basically got a plan, but he's got some quirks and stuff that we managed to find along the way. Not too many. Not too showy. He is who he is, you know. Just do what's required. But it sort of fulfills the nature of the whole sort of cliche, if you like. I think it offers him a good yuck. I mean, it's not to be taken seriously at all. For God's sake, let's hope not. And it's a comedy, really. I mean, it's a very specific genre, and it just, I think, it's meant for an entertainment and amusement. He's a very nice cat, and he's like, you know, just your ordinary guy, but he comes across, I mean, just like when you watch him on screen, he comes across like this really mean, tough guy, and he's a pussycat, you know. But, yeah, I've enjoyed it. He's a, you know, what can I say? I work with a lot of people, and it's generally pretty good, but he's nicer than the average bear, put it that way.
I loved it. I thought it was amazing because I think the way that these movies are done by Robert is very unique. So it's a lot of fun. I think everybody always enjoys a lot of action, beautiful woman, tough characters. I always wanted to work with him. I've seen most of his movies, and since he started, like with Salma and Antonio Banderas, and I always admire his way of doing movies, and I wanted to be part of that one day. So I was very lucky that he wanted me to be part of Machete too. His characters for women are always so strong and a lot of fun. I wanted to be one of those characters, and when he approached me, he told me that this character was going to be completely, if I wanted to do very crazy, I was able to do very crazy, and I've been wanting to do a character like that for a long time, so I'm very excited to be here. The character is fantastic for me because it's something very different from what I've been doing. It's a very strong woman. She's like, you know, I would think she's very crazy and not very stable. And she's like an assassin. So it's a lot of fun to be in a movie where you get to do action and shoot guns and shoot people with your metal bra. You know, it's entertaining and it's a lot of fun and it's very different for me. So that was one of the things that I really called my attention of the character. I've worked with him 2 times before Machete, so we're friends, and he's such a sweet guy. He looks scary, but he's like a teddy bear. I think women are gonna love seeing all these women characters that are in this movie, in Machete 2. Beautiful woman, strong woman, crazy woman. It's like it's a group of women that are not perfect, but they all have something that calls your attention. I think they're really gonna like it.
I love Robert. I think my favorite part about Robert is that he's so playful, and that when you sign up to work with him, and the cast that he acquires every time is so huge because of this quality that he has. It's just his ability to just play. You know, you're there to have fun. You know, you have that range of freedom to just be as outrageous as you could possibly be. And I think that's why he attracts so many amazing people to his sets. And that's always like my favorite part about working with Robert. Luce's network, her network of illegal immigrants fighting for justice and freedom has grown to like an elaborate, organized system. It's not just something out of a taco truck anymore. She actually has a station now. She's got, a couple 100,000 probably immigrants across the country that she's keeping track of and protecting, and are part of this secret coalition of Mexican immigrants. So her organization has grown, and her organization skills have been mastered more. He can bring a lot of attention to a lot of Latino actors, which he loves to hire all the time. But at the end of the day, I know why he succeeds at what he does, and it's because he speaks a language that transcends cultures. To attract the male audience as well as the female audience, by sexualizing, but at the same time strengthening and empowering. He's great. I love me some Robert. I love me some Amber Heard. You wouldn't believe Amber actually, she rides horses, shoots guns, this is her in her real life. Like, she's like a weapon in disguise, that one. I mean, you wouldn't believe it because you see this lipstick girl, so prim, proper, and beautiful. You wouldn't think that she's got all of these skills under her belt, but she does. She's a really cool chick. And I love that he cast her for this. She looks really great. Just had the energy of everybody that he brings on board. It's just playful, cool people who are down to earth and just love what they do for a living. So it was really good vibes on set every day. His energy is amazing. His heart is of gold. And to see him transition from the prisoner to the gangster to Danny Trejo, the name, you know what I mean? Whereas like now he gets to play real characters, and Robert, saw in him something so beautiful that he decided to make a superhero out of him.
Killjoy is such like a badass, kind of out there character. I've never played anything like her. So I was pretty quick to want to jump on when Robert mentioned it. I think the outfits are outrageous. It's definitely, I think, pushing it as far as edginess with my career, but I'm kind of ready for that next step, and I think this definitely shows people that I've grown up a little bit. Well, I've known Robert since I was 11, and I remember walking into the audition room at 11 and walking in and seeing this really cool guy in a bandana and this really awesome watch. And I remember telling him, directors aren't supposed to be this cool, because literally most time what I was used to was old kind of directors who were just kind of like fat guys sitting in a chair directing you. And then when I met Robert, it was just one of those, I thought he was the coolest man on the planet. And then shooting all of the films with him and getting to know him, you know, as kind of a dad, he really took over that father figure role in my life for years, for years. I think I'd kind of been ready to do something a little bit edgier for a while, and you see it in some of the other projects that I've taken, but nothing quite to this level. But I think the scariest thing was for Robert having to kind of go from, okay, you're a little girl, oh wow, now you're a woman. How do we make that transition? And I mean, he really is taking that leap. Killjoy is insane. She's an awesome character, vicious and out there, but she has balls. I'm excited. Something that Robert has done throughout his career, you see these strong, for the most part, Latino women kind of, they play the sexiness, but they use the sexiness to their advantage in the sense that they are just these strong, strong girls. You look at Salma in you know, Desperado and Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and you see just like she's just this gorgeous Latina woman, but she is a strong girl. It's not just about being sexy and that's what gets her to, you know, do whatever. I think it really comes down to Robert, the women in Robert's life have all been strong women. I mean, you look at all of his sisters, and they really, when they come into a room, they command a room, they take control. And I think because he grew up with these women in his life, he's able to really kind of put that out on the screen.
The one thing that I really loved about the character Machete was that he was like a regular guy. He was just a cop. You know, he was just a cop, a federal agent in Mexico, and he was nothing special other than a guy that had to right wrong. You know, he wasn't a superhero. He didn't have to wear tights. You know, he wasn't, didn't have a cape. You know, he doesn't fly, none of that. You know, he doesn't cast a web or anything. I mean, he's just a regular guy that can kick ass, you know, but I think I would match him against any one of the superheroes because he doesn't use his superpowers. He uses his head. Robert just like outdid himself. I'm trying to figure out what they're going to do for Machete 3 because this has literally everything. We've got, you know, I have a sword fight with Mel Gibson, you know, and I remember when Robert said, action, I threw down my sword. And Robert said, why are you throwing down your sword, Danny? I said, I'm not fighting William Wallace. Are you kidding? He saved Scotland. Charlie Sheen, who plays the President of the United States, who is an amazing actor. He plays the president, and in one scene he jumps up and yells, I'm the President of the United States. He was so convincing that you could almost hear the big ships going, dun, 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 and shooting, you know, on Iwo Jima. It was amazing. I got to tell you, she was an amazing actor. She's just a natural, well, she's an entertainer, so she's a natural actress, you know, and then we had such a blast working with her, and I got her pots and pans because she ordered pots and pans because she does her own cooking. So when she was leaving, I said, Gaga, who's taking your pots and pans? Nobody. So I took all her pots and pans. I got them at home. Lady Gaga's pots and pans. We've got Mel Gibson, Charlie Sheen, and a lot of the women love Lady Gaga. It's like, yeah, who doesn't? It's like, I love her. And we got Amber Heard. We have Sofia Vergara. Everybody loves her. Even women love her. God, it's like, we've got Antonio Banderas, Cuba Gooding Jr., and it just goes on and on. And I think it's an action-packed movie with chick consideration. It's not you wouldn't call it a chick flick, you know what I mean? But it's got a lot of chick consideration. They're both great. If somebody asked me, well, who would you rather have in a fight? I said, well, in a fight, you know, I would love Jessica Alba because Jessica Alba would make sure I wouldn't get hurt. She would go call 911 immediately. You know, the police would be there. Michelle would pick up a pitcher and hit somebody. You know, and then call 911. It's about action, and it's about taking the bulls by the horn, or taking the bull by the horns or something, and just doing it. You know, everything. It's like everything about it. It's like I don't think there's a scene in it that doesn't relate to action. You know? He's a really nice guy. He's a really nice guy, man. He got nominated for an Academy Award, so I thought he might be full of himself. He's just a great guy. He was just so humble.
For Machete Kills, I decided to go ahead and go really big and adventurous with it. If the first movie was almost like our First Blood, then this needed to be First Blood Part 2, you know, Rambo. This needed to be him on a mission. This needed to be Machete hired by the U.S. government to go on a mission that they couldn't solve. That was the original idea I'd always had for the character, was to have him be hired by the U.S. to go do a job nobody in the U.S. wanted to do. And he would be a real fish out of water and a real, you know, out of his element kind of character. And he would use his inventiveness and his sort of Mexican MacGyver quality to figure his way out of any situation. So I wanted to put him in that, but make it almost on a scale of a James Bond movie, like a Thunderball or something like that. I wanted it to feel like we started with Machete, but then we went much bigger with the second one. The movie's the whole series is completely wacky in how it goes about. There's no rules. There's something really exciting about that. You know, having a film whose its DNA is to break all rules and conventions, because then you can do anything. And anybody, I think that's why it attracts a lot of actors, is because anything goes. And there's nothing that an actor or performer or creator or filmmaker likes more than creative freedom. And if you have a project where that's what you have to do, that's the job, is to be completely free creatively, well, that's no job at all. That's easy. That's fun. That's play. Once we had Mel Gibson, we'd do a Mel Gibson pass. Once we had Charlie Sheen, we'd do a Charlie Sheen pass. Or Lady Gaga, then we'd do a Lady Gaga pass for her character. And that's just the natural progress of how a project works. But the script itself was based on the treatment that my brother and I came up with, and we did it all very quickly. I think it all came together in a couple of months. Having strong women in my movies, yeah. So it's always been that way, and it's never anything that it's planned. It's just my worldview. I mean, I grew up with 5 sisters. I have, you know, my mom and my daughter is they're just so it's a real strength. I mean, it's not like the fake movie strength, you know, that they do sometimes, where you can tell it was a part for a guy and they just made it a girl. And I mean, it's like a real. When you understand a woman's strength, you know, how that can come across in a movie, I really kind of go for that, and that feeling of just seeing, you know, seeing their true strong selves coming through, and letting that be a highlight of the movie. I mean, when we had the girls going at it, you know, Michelle Rodriguez and Amber, the whole crew was like, this is the movie to me. This is the movie I want to see, because they were just so amazing and so fun. And you could just make a whole movie just about them. But that's why I think I have so many women characters. It's just because, I mean, I grew up in a family of 10 kids. There was 5 boys and there were 5 girls. And they're all just as strong as, you know, the other. Danny Trejo and I just worked together so long, it's hard to imagine. It's hard to remember a time I didn't work with Danny Trejo. And which made this movie even the most surprising, is that because I had so many other actors to deal with, I kept thinking, well, just save Danny. I know I can count on Danny. I'll shoot him at the end of the day. And Danny would get very little time. And there was something magic about that, because somehow in this movie, he didn't even need any time. I could turn to him and I would get it in one take. He would give me amazing stuff. This is the best performance he's ever given me. And he would surprise me each time he would come on. I would go, Danny, you nailed that. He's like, I know. He had, I guess, something about the first movie being what it was. He was either more confident, or I don't know, he was just better. And Danny was always great, but he was even better in this one. And he's so on it in every take. I mean, it's pretty amazing.